I think of it as heart work, and that the work that we do with our hearts to really create a space for God to dwell in us and through us. I came across this quote by Eddie Hillesum, who is a great inspiration to me. She says, time and again I have had to learn how spacious the heart can be. And time and again I have had to reclaim that space. And so I feel like that's that reclaiming of the space, because our hearts get sort of, cluttered and broken, and then that flow of the God force can't happen. So I wanted to bring a text from this week's Parsha of the Song of Songs, and Rachel, if you would share that text with us as our inspiration to do the heart work, really. So there is a text about to appear. There it is. So it comes from the third chapter of Shir Shirim, the Song of Songs. And Rabbi Akiva said that had the Torah not been given, we could live our lives by the Song of Songs. So I take that as a dare, like how will I live my life by the Song of Songs, placing love at the center. So the text says that King Solomon built a pavilion from the cedars of Lebanon. He made its columns of silver, its cushions of gold, its couches of purple linen. So that's this grand edifice that is being created for us as this world. And the daughters of Jerusalem inlaid it with love. And so here's the work, the inner work that we are, um, that we are asked to do in order to make that place in us spacious and open and flowing. Uh, so, um, so this, I'll just say that one of my inspirations is this. And if you want to go up a little bit, Rachel, to that commentary that says kintsugi is the Japanese art of repairing broken pottery by filling the cracks with a golden lacquer, thus making the bowl even more unique and valuable by illuminating rather than hiding its perfections. The daughters of Jerusalem, our companions on the spiritual path, can help us perfect this art as we navigate this world with our broken hearts. Because there is a danger of hiding those cracks or filling them with shame or despair or fear. Instead, our practice is to enter deeply into the depths of our heart, acknowledge its flaws and brokenness, and then fill those broken places with the gold of love, pouring compassion, tenderness, and kindness into those vulnerable places. And there really are two different practices in this. And if you want to go down a little bit further, Rachel, to the bottom, the question for contemplation. So these are the two kind of you know gifts that we're given by the song. These questions in our meditation: can I touch the most vulnerable and broken place within me with tenderness and fill those spaces with love and compassion? And then the second question, just as important, is can I do this work in the light of friendship with my companions on the path? And so what I wanted to do is, we're going to chant these words that just has three words: toho, ratzuf, ahava. But before we do that, I want to just look at each other, to open up to our companions on the path. And so I think maybe if you just get rid of this the handout for a moment, and to make this part of our practice really is to give and receive blessing, to to those who are on the Zoom screen, and you might want to move through and, sort of look into the eyes of the people who are here, and to say, oh, these are the daughters of Jerusalem. Whether they're men or women, they're the daughters of Jerusalem. They are my companions on the path. And as I go into my meditation, I want to take that blessing with me, and also feel the presence of those companions on the path as I do my practice. So we'll chant those words. In a moment, we'll go back to the text, and as you chant it, keep that feeling of like, oh, I'm accompanied on this pathway into the heart. I am blessed by, I'm not doing this alone. I'm doing with these companions on the path of love. And so we will come back, Rachel, to that text, and just chant these three words: Toho, Ratzuf, Ahava, and feel them resonating in our hearts. Toho, Ratzuf, Ahava, Toho, Ratzuf, Ahava, Toho, Ratzuf, Ahava, Toho, Ratzuf, Ahava. And let the words take you into the heart. Toho, Ratzuf, Ahava, 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 Toho, Ratzuf, Ahava. And fill your voice with love. Toho, Ratzuf, Ahava, 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 Toho, Ratzuf, Ahava. As we enter the silence, I invite you to bring your attention to the breath and imagine breathing into the heart. And as you breathe into your heart, find those places in the heart that are vulnerable, that feel broken, those cracked places in the heart. And with the breath, just fill the God love into those places of vulnerability in the heart. With each breath, breathing in, filling the heart, making it whole. And as you exhale, just become radiant in that wholeness. Again, breathing in, finding those places in the heart where maybe you have defended the heart. Now you don't need to anymore. Bringing in that flow of the divine love into those spaces in the heart that have been hurt. And the exhale, shining out radiance into the world. So with each breath, the heart becoming more whole, more spacious, more filled with light. Feeling supported by your companions on the path to do this heart work of healing, of wholeness. Tocho Ratsuf Ahava Tocho Ratsuf Ahava Tocho Ratsuf Ahava Tocho Ratsuf Ahava Tocho Ratsu 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 Ahava. So as we come into this radiance of the heart, I invite you to open your eyes and share some of that radiance, some of that light with the other people in the Zoom room in gratitude for our shared practice, for accompanying each other on the path of love. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shefa. Thank you to everybody. And I invite you to stay around for a little bit of reflection and opportunity for some Q&A. But we'll do that momentarily. Right now, we have an opportunity for those who are remembering loved ones today to recite Mourner's Kaddish. If you'd like in the chat to insert the name of anybody who you are remembering today, we invite you to do that. And Rachel's put the text of Kaddish on, and so you can unmute as well and join me in reciting Mourner's Kaddish. Itkadal, Alma Divra, Chirutei, V'Amlis Malkutei, V'Chayechol, V'Yamaton, V'Chayei, B'Chol, Beit Yisrael, V'Nagala, V'Zman Kavid, V'Imru Amen.
Amen.
Yehei
Yehei
Shmei
Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'alam Ul'alnei Amaya
Yibarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'al v'yitramam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalel v'yithalal shmei v'kudsha brichu
Brichu
Ve'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiran
Amen.
ba'alma
Osei
v'imru
shalom
amen.
b'mamav.
Amen.
Osei
Yehei
shalom
shlama
aleinu
raba
v'al kol
v'yishmaya
Yisrael v'imru.
v'chayu
Amen.
aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
Amen.
Shalom b'mromav hu ya'aseh shalom
Osei shalom
aleinu
b'mamav.
v'al kol
Osei
Yisrael
shalom
v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen.
Amen.
b'Shved.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Rachel, for your help with that. So we'll bring Shefa back up here, and thank you so much, Shefa, always for both the gift of your your Torah and the inclusion of the musical aspects of your Torah as well. Always a joy to learn a nigun and a practice and a chant in this case from you. Um, and it's such a striking image that you offered us of like this temple that's inlaid with gold by the daughters of Jerusalem. And just I love the close reading you're offering there of,
It's inlaid with love.
with him, you're sorry, inlaid with love,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Inlaid with love. Tocho Ratzuf Ahava. And I would invite any, folks in the chat to, if any of you have questions, to please just mark it capital questions, or question rather, that helps us to see it. And of course, feel very welcome to respond to each other, but also to offer comments about what that brought up for you, or how you received and experienced that teaching and that practice. And so already getting some lovely comments. Um, Chef, I like to begin usually with a question for you of with anybody who's teaching that have the pleasure and honor to be able to ask the question. In your own practice right now, for it, when has it not been a difficult time, but it's a difficult time, right? Um, and I just wonder, like, what's coming up for you right now? I mean, I'm can, what do you find yourself sort of leaning into most, or yeah, what's been most helpful for you these days?
Yeah, I think I was drawn to like just talk about this heart work because I feel, you know, a lot of judgment, a lot of cynicism, a lot of fear arising in the heart, and I want to like pay attention to it um, and then choose where I want to put my focus. Really, it's like acknowledge feelings that that come up for me, but then feel like this kind of an agency or courage or uh, decision that I want to put my attention on on what I can do, what's positive, how to bring more kindness into the world, to balance out all of the meanness that I see around, in the public sphere.
Mm,
So that's, it's a daily, it's a moment to moment practice of monitoring as I become reactive to be able to soothe my heart and to make this decision really each moment.
yeah, yeah. Thank you. Beautiful. There's some requests for the Nigun. It looks like those have been answered. So thanks to folks in the chat who are already answering each other's questions. And there was somebody picked up on my Freudian slip, which may be no more than the fact that it's a combination, I have to be honest, right, between the parshiot that we're in right now of the, building the Mishkan and the reading the Torah. So of course the Aron Kodesh is inlaid with gold as well. But then I'm talking to Shefa Gold, whose name is on the screen. So my guess is, that was there. But also bringing in the kintsugi, which is, such a beautiful art practice and reflective of that. And I know Mark Margolius and I, we did some teaching on that last summer as well. And it's a beautiful, a really beautiful idea. There's a question here that Heidi asked about, it seems that being reactive to the world breeds isolation, and forgetting everyone is feeling the need to connect. Why do you think that is? I love the question. Why do you think that is? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's why I felt like it was so important to have those two parts of the practice, really, to say that. And whenever the daughters of Jerusalem appear in the Song of Songs, there's always a kind of a shift that happens and a realization that I'm not alone in this. And that is what empowers me, what connects me. And I think I would say that the hidden gift of this time is connection, is that I'm being sent to connection
Mm,
because that and you say that reactivity breeds isolation, but it's like it's almost like an inner training to say every time that reactivity arises, reach out in connection. And then those connections become ever stronger. And I felt the gift of that in this time of feeling more connected, um, connected to my own values, but also connected to the people who share those values with me. And, so that's a blessing. That,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. When you're describing that, very similar for me in the sense that, I've, really been quite methodical and disciplined about, really making more time to sit in the mornings, especially. Um, and I find that I'm almost experiencing it, hopefully on the good days, as almost like a metabolism. It feels like, there's like stuff that I'm ingesting from the world, and then with practice, I'm able to kind of metabolize that into something that, hopefully can be a more positive force, right? And intended for that. And,
To
it's
receive
a lot.
it, to receive the world as a challenge to rise to rather
Mhm.
than to be a victim of it.
Mm,
And I think that's why when I talk about the radiance of the heart, I feel like that's what shifts me from being a victim to being an agent in the world, is that radiance. It protects me from negativity. So I might want to cultivate that radiance. And it also just, transforms my attitude of like, okay, here's a challenge rather than, oh, I become a victim of it,
mm,
really.
yeah.
And, how do I, and so the question each day really is, how do I meet this challenge? And that's a question of like a midot question, what quality do I need to cultivate in me in order to meet this challenge? And it's there's always a new challenge every day, but but I don't want to be a victim of that. I want it to actually stir me and stir my love,
Mm,
really.
mm. Somebody pointed out Elon here. It looks like just with this very interesting point about just the phrase "Tocho Ratzuf Ahava." Ratzuf is this concrete verb, and Ahava is this sort of abstract concept, and the pairing of them is relatively rare in biblical Hebrew, which is also, a lovely, and again, why normally one would say that it's, inlaid with zahav, with gold, right? And so Ahava, is just, there's a lot you can do with that, obviously.
And I want to say that inlay is like the foundational work,
Hmm.
because when we talk, it's sort of in contrast to the cedars of Lebanon and the columns of silver and the cushions of gold, which are really kind of like out there, but none of it makes any sense unless there's a foundation there of love
Mm,
underneath it all.
mm,
Otherwise, it
yeah.
just becomes ego in some way, and so, but the foundation of love is what lifts it all up. And when there's cracks in that foundation, of my own foundation, I always sort of say that if I don't fill those cracks with love, they get filled with shame. And that's what victimhood is too. It's kind of being filled with shame for what's happening.
Mm,
And so you
yeah.
have to be sort of like, um, I don't know, to actually do the filling rather than get filled, because because the shame will happen, or the fear will happen. And I want to also, um, not, some of that fear and judgment are like defenses for the heart. We're defending our hearts, and a defended heart can't receive God's love. And so I want to live with an undefended heart. And
Mm,
in order to do that, I have to let that heart become radiant. That's the best defense, really, is the radiance of the heart.
mm, mm. Natasha has a question, which I think this comes up every time we're together, and about thinking about the relationship of breathing while singing and chanting. And unless you want to say something, I mean, you have a lot to say on this, I know, and I think you even have courses on it. Like I think if you go on our website, there's stuff about this. And so, Natasha, I would refer you to the website and send
The
you,
book, a book
but
that I've written,
in
a
a
book.
book, right? So yeah, so I think it's more than an on one foot answer.
So
But is
yeah,
there's a short answer that you want to provide there?
yeah. There's when in studying some neuroscience, there are these certain qualities that allow for neuroplasticity, for the creation of new neurons, and so those five qualities, I call them the acronym INFAR: intensity, novelty, focus, awareness, and repetition. And when those five qualities are there, um, then it's a possibility to rewire the brain. And so when I learned about that in neuroscience, I thought, oh, that's what I'm doing in my chant.
Mm,
I'm bringing this, intensity, novelty, awareness, repetition, focus. And the breath is really key. The chant is really, brings me into a certain rhythm of breath, and that is part of what you know opens my consciousness. And also, if I'm chanting with other people, we begin breathing together and attuning ourselves to each other. So it's there's a science of it, that of like the reason it works so well. And really, my practice is to rewire my brain, because I have a negativity bias in the brain, where
mm.
I'm going to go to fixate on what's wrong, and I want to to switch that into a different way of seeing the world.
Mm, mm. Maybe our last question, we'll see. Ricky had this great question about we talked about the ahava, and sort of the toho, but the ratzuf. Ricky says, could you say more about the image of ratzuf, a rare verb, like the image of um, basting a cake with sweetness, or basting the inner self evokes water flow, light flow. I wonder if there's more that you want to say about the ratzuf element of this. Um, and Natasha should points out it's also about continuity. Ratzuf, yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know that much about the word, really. Um, it just to me it just points me towards these places in my heart that are vulnerable, and are that need attention.
Mm,
And uh, and that if I don't do that, then they kind of then the negativity comes into those places, that those vulnerable places. So vulnerability is my power, really, but only if I become conscious and aware of that vulnerability, and connect myself to the larger community and to God through
mm.
it.
Which I think,
So I
and I
don't
think
know.
that's just such an important teaching, and so much of what a lot of us I think are working on right now about non-reactivity, but also and not but and how then to show up and meet the moment that we live in. Again, it's always, when has it not been the case? But some might be feeling it more acutely now. And so, but how to meet that moment, and not as a victim, but as an empowered agent with very deep roots, in our tradition, in the divine, in the world, in our
Yeah,
connection.
and to what how do I grow from it?
Hmm.
What am I receiving? And how to lean into that sense of connection with people, that feels really important, to not isolate, or um, to lift myself up to the challenge of this moment, um, and to see I'm growing in compassion. That's why I came here, to grow in compassion, and to feel myself connected to the larger reality.
Yeah. Okay. That's a wonderful note to end on. We can wrap here. But thank you to everybody. Thank you, Shefa, for your teaching today. Thank you, everybody, for being part of our community. If you'd like to save the chat, now's a good time to go to those three dots at the top of the chat box, and you can save it. And thank you to Rachel for holding our tech down today. We will be back tomorrow, same time and channel, for the next installment in our series. Tomorrow, in fact, is the official 5-year anniversary of the Daily Sit. And we stay tuned. We'll be doing an event to celebrate that in a couple of months, but that'll be forthcoming pretty soon. Anyway, thank you to everybody today, and thank you to Shefa again. Take care. Be well.
Bye.